Hi there. Today we're going to talk about marketing one-on-one. Before you do any kind of marketing, or if you're a business owner, you must understand what marketing is, what it isn't, and how much you should spend on marketing, where you should spend it. So think of this as your MBA or marketing degree in under 10 minutes. This is a presentation that I gave to a local networking group. Let me know if you'd like to join. But I presented this and got a lot of good feedback. And so I decided to actually record this and host it so that other business owners could learn the basics of marketing. So let's go ahead and jump right in. A little bit about myself. I'm Aaron Marquez. I've been in this space for over 15 years. My agency has been blessed to receive many awards. We've helped hundreds of businesses of all shapes and sizes grow their bottom line using marketing and search engine marketing. We recently won an award for Rising Star Agency from the American Advertising Federation, and we've won multiple regional and national awards. We act as a CMO, or a marketing component to your business. We figure out where you should market, help build out the execution plan, and then a measuring system so that everything that we do is measured and you can see the impact directly. Okay, let's get back into marketing. So what is marketing? Marketing, there's a lot of myths, what it is, what it shouldn't be, what it should be. So let's just set the foundation correctly. Marketing is adding eyes onto your business or your brand. It is getting your business and your brand seen by the right people at the right time. Not only does it add visibility, but it also adds trust. It should educate. It should communicate your brand, your values, and why you're different. And good marketing provokes people into taking action. Scheduling a call, booking a consultation, signing up for a newsletter, whatever it might be. So to reiterate, marketing is visibility, trust, and action. What marketing is not. Marketing is not a cost. So most business owners view marketing as a cost, something that they can cut out of their expenses at free will, and it's kind of optional. If we're doing really good, we'll throw some money at marketing. If we're not, that's the first thing to go. That is a very poor viewpoint of marketing. It's also not guesswork. Marketing isn't, I'm going to throw money at that and see what happens, or I'm going to see what that happens. I don't feel like it really worked. I'm not sure what I got from that. And it's not a solve-all pill. So if you have trouble in your business, maybe you don't have enough revenue, or you're having any kind of challenges in business, marketing does not solve those problems. Marketing will magnify them. So don't treat marketing as an indisposable magic pill that you pull out when you need it. It's not how marketing works. Marketing is an investment. If you pay the dividends over time, you'll get the best return. Marketing should be measurable. It should be something that you can measure the input and the output, what you do, what the effects of that are. It should be consistent, it should be strategic, and it should be authentic. So consistency means you show up every day. You have certain actions that you do regularly, daily, weekly, monthly. Strategic, it should be not a matter of throwing mud at a wall and seeing what sticks, but strategic, laser-focused actions that you know improve your marketing and in return your bottom line. And most of all, it should be authentic. It shouldn't feel like a different company. If you're a small pest control company, you shouldn't market like you're a national pest control company, because you're not. Market who you are, own it, and that's ultimately why people will choose you. The biggest question that we come across is, how much should I spend on marketing? So most business owners come up with a fictitious number. They'll just kind of carve out a little piece of money if they budget for marketing, and that is what they'll spend on marketing. And it can subject to change. There's actual guidelines on how much you should spend on marketing. And the truth is, most businesses do not spend enough. When you don't spend enough on marketing, you risk quite a bit. Your growth is not going to be paced with the market. You're really just kind of hoping and praying that you get business growth, and your expectations are going to be very mismatched. If you're spending, let's just say $100 a month, but your competitor's spending 10,000, you're both going to get very different results. And if you don't know how much you should be spending, you're going to think that you should get the same result as them, and you're not. The biggest thing too is if you're not spending enough, your competitor is going to outpace you. They're going to outgrow you because they're spending more. They're out there, they're more visible, things like that. So it's really important you know how much to spend and you're spending the right amount. If you spend too much, that's also a problem. If you can't afford to, market, that's also another issue. The Small Business Administration released a framework and a guideline for how much you should spend on marketing. If you are a business under 5 million, you should spend on average 7 to 8% of your annual revenue on marketing. Typical startups spend 12 to 20%. In their first year, they're really trying to educate and kind of get out there, get all eyes on them. And established businesses spend an average of 6 to 12%. So for a $500,000 a year business, that would be 60 to 100,000 for their first year. For their growth, if they're trying to be aggressive, it could be at a minimum 35 to 40,000. And then for established company, just to kind of maintain their brand, maintain a healthy growth rate each year, that's 30 to 35,000. Now, put your revenue number in there and adjust the formula accordingly. Now, we talked about cost. What are the different types of marketing? At its core, there's two types of marketing. There's inbound and outbound. There's people that come to you, and then you go to people. Simple as that. Inbound is when people come to you. Good examples are search engines marketing, SEO, Google Ads, social media, content marketing. You're putting things out there, people are seeing it, and then they're coming to you because they found you. Outbound is, there's a little bit of crossover here, but outbound is more, you're going and knocking on doors. You're doing the boots on the ground. You're, handing out business cards, door hangers, things like that. And successful businesses do a little bit of both, not one or the other. Content is a very interesting dynamic because it's a little bit of both. If I post a video on social media, or I post a blog post, or I put out content, it is a form of outbound because I am putting something out. But what's great about it is it's very scalable, and it causes an inbound effect. Now people are finding my content and they're coming and they're contacting. So content is kind of a hybrid of the two. Looking at the marketing funnel, there's different stages of marketing, and you have to know this if you're going to invest in any type of marketing, because your business might have certain challenges that are belonging to one of these stages. So for example, awareness. People don't know about you, never heard of you. If that's your issue, you have a great product, a great service, but no one knows about you, awareness is your friend. You need to get eyes on your product. The product sells itself. That's where search engine marketing comes in. People type in plumbers near me. Social media, you can put out posts and tap into trends, do paid advertising, and get a lot of eyes on you. Consideration, this is people that are in the market and they're considering a purchase or some kind of event. This is where having really good case studies that show people the transformation of your service, the before and after if you're a contractor, and having an email campaign, a nurture sequence after they submit a lead form or sign up for a newsletter that nurtures them and educates them and pushes them into the conversion category. The conversion category is where, your presentations, your demos, your sales calls, that's where the conversion stage comes in. And then that's where those different pieces fit in. So if you are, if you don't have the best sales presentation, if you don't have like a little presentation or a pitch deck or anything like that, that's something you should look at. A lot of times people have really good awareness and they have really good consideration, but they fall off on the conversion because they have a poor sales pitch, they have not a lot of collateral, they don't have a really good proposal or sales process, and they don't have any kind of special offers or incentives. You have to get everyone not only to conversion but beyond, which is retention. And retention helps you keep the customers you already have and tap into a referral world. So, for example, you spend all this money getting people to be aware of you and to consider you and to hire you, but you lose them after a few months. Well, that's the job of retention. because it's very expensive to get new customers. And there's a saying, the best people to sell to are the people that have already purchased from you. So marketing is a full gamut, not only getting the customer, but keeping them and getting them to talk about you. I want to talk about a few different channels of marketing. There's quite a few. Let's go ahead and jump into a few of them. So word of mouth. Everyone says that they have a word of mouth business and they've grown. Talk to so many business owners, successful business owners, and oh yeah, we've grown on word of mouth. Well, that's a disingenuous response because that's not 100% true, but it's one of the things that they've been able to attribute most because they have people telling them, oh, I heard about you, or you've been referred. The problem with word of mouth and relying on this is your growth has been left entirely up to chance, entirely up to strangers and people that, they may go out of town for a couple months, or they may not even talk about your business. And so you're leaving up the entire future of your business to these people. Now, look, I'm a big fan of word of mouth, but I've also had people referred to me that, let's just say I give a discount to someone and then they refer their buddy. Well, they're going to say, yeah, I paid this much. Well, that's because you were my buddy. This new person might not be. And now I'm forced to honor that pricing. So there's a lot of different traps with word of mouth. It's unpredictable. It's not scalable. You can't go out and say, hey, everyone, if you know about me, I need 10 more customers this month. So if you rely on this, your business is actually in a very dangerous spot. And this, you shouldn't flex or brag about this because it's not something worth. Next, I want to talk about the market and how it plays into marketing and your business. So most businesses will reap the benefits of an in-season market. Everything's in demand. In fact, there's so much demand and people looking for services that there's spillover. So all the people that are marketing are so inundated by opportunities that they can't even handle the work. So it falls over to people that rely on word of mouth, and that's how they get those referrals. And the market's booming. And so everybody gets a little bit when the market's booming. But what happens is off season, or if there's any kind of economic volatility, the market contracts. And when it contracts and gets smaller, there's less opportunity. And guess who gets most of that? The people that are marketing. Guess who doesn't get hardly any of it is the people that aren't. The people that rely on word of mouth. Because now the market, there isn't extra, there isn't spillover. And this is a lot of times when businesses reach out to us and they need help because they've relied on word of mouth. Now that the market's contracted, they're saying, hey, I need help marketing. The best time to market is when you don't need it. The best time to market is today or yesterday. So that's how that works, and that's why a lot of businesses, right after the summer rush, a lot of home services do really well during the summer and spring seasons. Right after that, they start contacting and marketing professionals and are looking for help. And I've seen it play out for the last 10 years. So get ahead of it, start marketing in spring or summer. And by the time you get to winter, you've either landed so many extra jobs that you're able to survive the winter, or you have more visibility and you'll get more jobs and not being reliant on word of mouth. A couple different marketing channels. There's so many different things that you can do with your marketing spend, right? We talked about how much marketing costs. There's a lot of things that you can do. What we do with clients is we always want to advise them on the best marketing channel. So I'm going to go over the most popular ones and talk about the pros and cons and which one might be right for you. So social media. Most people think that social media is going to solve their business problems and they're going to get all the new leads they need. That can be true, but it can also be quite the opposite. So the good thing about social media is you can reach a lot of people very inexpensively. You can spend $100 and reach 10,000 people or get 10,000 impressions. It's really good for awareness. If people have never heard of you, it can be a really great way to get the word out. You have a lot of targeting options as well. You can target age range, gender, certain interest, demographics, things like that. So there's a lot of control. You have to have really good creative though. So you have to have really good video, really good design for your ads, and it has to be very compelling. You can't just put a flyer and boost the post and expect good results. It's very hit and miss. Now the cons or the downsides to social media is that there's low buyer intent. Most people aren't on there to do business with a service or a product. It can be a bit difficult to track return on investment, because what happens is, because it's in that awareness phase, you have people that see your ad and then they don't purchase till month 6 or month 12, a year later. And that's very difficult to track. So you don't know if you're actually getting a good ROI. I really recommend it if your business is lifestyle dependent, salons, anything with appearance or cosmetics, real estate, anything brand oriented, apparel, merch, things like that. That's a really good industry for you to be in, because it's people centric, it's human centric. If you're selling a service, pest control, even marketing, dare I say, it can be a very hard channel to track return on investment. Marketing channels like traditional print, radio, TV, billboards, door hangers, all very important, and you should have a little bit of everything. But it can be really hard to justify the ROI. Think about what I just said with social media, where people aren't necessarily in the market. You're basically taking that factor and putting it into a very unscalable version, which is you going out and knocking doors. You can knock 500 doors, 1,000 doors, and maybe 5 to 10 people are interested, or they're ready to make a decision right then. Otherwise, they're going to keep that door hanger if they keep it and don't throw it away, and maybe they'll contact you in the future. So it can be very hard to determine if it's a good bang for your buck. Now, in an ideal world, you have really good business cards, you have really good flyers, so that when you're having these encounters, you can, give them some information and leave behinds. But if you just pick traditional, you're limiting yourself greatly, because there's a whole audience of people that are actually looking to buy your services. And that's what I want to talk about. The holy grail of marketing. It is the golden goose. And I like to think of it as hybrid referrals, right? We know that word of mouth and referrals are really powerful. You have someone vouching for you, so when they come to you, it's an easy sell, and that's why people like it. Think of that's scalable, you can target, you can control, and 10x the amount of people that contact you. Search engines. People search you online and they find you. Guess what? There's already a built-in credibility and built-in trust, because they found you. You're not pitching them, they found you. The next thing is there's high intent. People are going on search engines and they're looking for your services and Googling you, and they find you. They're in the market. They're seeking you out. So how do search engines work? How do you get to the top? Why are some people up top? Why are some people below? You may have competitors that are like number one, but you know that they're not the best at what they do. But how are they number one? Well, Google doesn't necessarily show the best results. That's their goal. They want to show whoever the best is up top, but that's just not how it works. Because how can they determine who the best is if they know nothing about you? So you have to have a really good website. It has to load fast. It has to look good on mobile devices. And Google can tell if people load the site if they leave immediately. So everything has to be done intentionally, and to get people to stay on your website, click around, and use it. The content has to be fresh. You have to regularly update your content, whether it's blog posts, Google Business posts, social media. And you need to establish trust. How does Google know that you are what you say you are and that you're good? Well, with reviews, with links from other partners and sites, by getting awards, having a community presence, being involved with things like local BNI chapters, the Fresno Chamber of Commerce, different things like that. Find a local chamber and get involved. Once you have a really good website, you have ongoing content, and you have trust, you will rank higher. So how does an agency like mine help? Well, they should help you basically facilitate the creation of trust and content. So a lot of times business owners don't have time to do research and come up with really good content. And a lot of times they think it's just content, but that can be noise. It's not just content for content's sake. It's not just activity for activity's sake. What we do is we identify the gaps. Where do you actually lack? Where should you focus first? Do you have a trust issue with Google? Do you have a relevance issue? Do you have keywords targeting issue? What we do is we build a strategy to bridge those gaps and to target the right search terms, and then you backtrack that with your actual content creation, and you can be strategic with your efforts. And we build a system to measure that. So this is what a good SEO person will do, is they'll identify the gaps, figure out where we should target, and build a plan to measure the improvement. A couple of case studies that my local agency has helped participate with or help grow. One client, a local home remodel contractor, went from page 2 to number 2 in 30 days, a 66% increase in visibility. And they've told me the phone is off the hook. They've gotten more leads than they ever have. Another client, a large commercial electrical contractor, they receive in 1 week the amount of leads that they used to receive in a year. It's a direct quotation from the head of sales. And then another client, they won several big multi-million-dollar jobs just from SEO. So that's the kind of impact that this stuff has. I highly recommend figuring out what your budget is, and then figuring out what channels you should invest in, building a way to measure that system and sticking to it. If you can, pick multiple. Do a multi-channel approach. Do a little bit of social media, a little bit of SEO, and a little bit of traditional, and measure everything. The companies that win are the ones that get started and keep at it. Just like anything else, fitness or anything else worthwhile, give consistent input, and you'll get long-term benefits. Thank you.